I didn't know how I wanted to do this, so we're just gonna play and talk. Um, you just heard it in the background. There was, you could hear a frog croaking. So I want to talk about my predictions, but also just what I want to be added to Grounded 2 on whatever you want to call it. Just new creatures to add, ones that I think would be cool to the game. And I know other people have already put out predictions, said what they wanted, what the community may want, whatever. Um, and that's kind of where I am of just adding different things. Something that I think would be really cool to add is tree frogs. They already have them in the ambience and just surrounding whatever, and you can kind of hear them at night. So I just kind of turned up my noise level or turned everything down except for ambience, and I just listened, and you could hear the frogs croaking. So I think that'd be really cool. Add something to just, I don't know, just something to the game that'd be cool. But my thought process with it is don't add an in. I like the forces of nature, like the koi fish in Grounded One. I think it was really cool because it's something that was always there, but it was your danger to the water that wasn't something you could continuously kill. It was one thing. So how I thought about it is add a tree frog that you could not kill, but you could still get resources from. And I've just been kind of going back and forth with myself of how is that, like, if you put that into the game, how is that going to work? And my thought process is you contain it to a specific thing, like, I don't know, a giant scorpion in the ice cream cart or like the koi fish to the pond, but they plan on adding a greenhouse. So if you have a greenhouse, I think it'd be cool to have a tree frog that's in there or something. And it doesn't have to be because they like putting in variants of different things that it's like, oh, that wouldn't actually be here. Like a tarantula, how it got here was in a terrarium was dropped, and now it's in the corner of the map and it's a boss fight. But you have a glass tree frog. I think that'd be cool for a greenhouse setting. That if you get into the before you get into the greenhouse, like you have to do something to get in there. But before you get in there, against the side of the glass, you see a glass tree frog painting against the side of the glass pane. And I think that'd be cool because one, if you don't know glass tree frogs, you can see why they're called glass tree frogs is you can see their intestines because they just are more transparent. So I think that'd be just something really cool. I know that'd probably be a lot to add for just a frog, but I think it'd be something that just a unique interaction and just be something add. If not, I think a regular tree frog would do justice and having that just in the game. And I think it'd be same thing, kind of like the koi fish. You get too close, it will try to attack you. But I like almost the hunting behavior of the praying mantis. So I think it'd be something like you would know when it's awake, when it's asleep. It would keep its eyes closed and be like nestled somewhere. And you could see it. If you got too close, it might like wake up, however. But then if it's like eyes were open, it was like walking around wondering, then you knew it was awake and there's more of a likely chance that it would attack you. So I think it's kind of just like a hidden danger of the like greenhouse, basically. And it's that force of nature in there that at any point it could come after you. So not that you'd have a time limit to be in there, but it's not a peaceful area. It's you're on the lookout for something, something may be after you. But if you notice it before it notices you, you can know like, hey, it's asleep right now. And you can run the opposite direction, other side. And I think that'd just be cool to have that of it's there, you can see it, you can't kill it. So I'm going to get to the resource side. How could you add it to the game and get, I don't know, like resources from it if you can't kill it? I was like, well, if it's something killable, I feel like frog legs or something that you would get. And it's like, but I know how they had a hard time with like blood because of the lizard they were going to add, which still could potentially be added. So they do um like just like frog slime. You already have the snail slime, goo, whatever. You already have that. So make this just another tier of it. Maybe it's something like the tier 5 apps. I don't know. Make it something like late game like that. And the greenhouse isn't something that you get to until later. But then just different things to add. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely something you could workshop. Um, and just I don't know. I don't know what you would get from a frog if it's just like naturally there. All that I can think of is maybe like a slime. So hey, it was sitting in this area. Maybe something it is to get resources from it. You gotta wait, hide out, wait for it to move. Once it a spot it was sitting, there might be like frog slime, and just as something. And I know they already are going. They're going to be adding the snake into the game. I have seen that be showcased and demonstrated of it slithering around doing stuff. I think that will also be really cool, and that's why I kind of just wanted to add that of just maybe a frog, maybe just in general. I think it could be cool, but if not, there's definitely other options you could do. I think the snake is definitely a good one. And then let's just go on to the next one. So another one I thought about was dragonflies. I have seen those. I think they would be, instead of adding tiger mosquitoes, because I dislike mosquitoes like a lot of people, tiger mosquitoes are just a more annoying version of them. So scrap tiger mosquitoes, get rid of them. Let's make something else flying. Maybe it's a bit more speedy, but not, it might still end up being annoying, but something like a mosquito, but not. So adding in a dragonfly, I think it definitely has a lot of options that you could do. With, I've seen people talk about like adding dragonfly like larvae and everything because they would be in water. Well, if you do that, then you would have like different tiers, whatever, or different I don't even know what I want to call it, but just a dragonfly in general. And just you could have it be maybe speeding around the map, something really hard to hit. It may not be necessarily aggressive towards the player, but maybe it's just like the little jewel beetles or whatever they were called from the first game. Maybe with them, it's just they are that you try to hit them and they fly away really fast, and they have good materials or something, but then power, I don't know, just kind of something like that was a thought. And then just you could add like their wings as a drop. I think could be cool. Definitely have great potential for armor sets, maybe weapons, everything. I feel like they would be a good ranger build because you could add a helmet that maybe it's like your critical chance, and with their eyes, like how, like kind of like the let me look, the one, yeah, the grub goggles, kind of like this. Make it something that it's going to be, it's ranger armor, it's add something other than quick charge, and make it more powerful. Then it's that maybe it's your tier 3, even tier 4 armor. Like it's going to reward you for getting that. And it's just maybe something really hard to kind of kill. Like you may be chasing it down and have to hit it multiple times or something. But that was just kind of a thought with them that I don't know how practical they would be, but definitely something that I think would be cool as, instead of just continuously killing, maybe a unique encounter or challenge to where you can get just something better that's a higher tier. And definitely just many things to workshop with that. And I know they're not all set in stone. I know it's not exactly what I say is what the dev team will do, but it's just definitely fun to kind of see what there may be. And so we're going to get on to my next one of the just so I was thinking about something like a hermit crab. I've had thought about like, oh, what if they add like a crab in the game? How could you do that? And it's like I've seen like um different like lobsters, crawfish, and stuff. I've seen some other people point out, and I'm like, I feel as though that is like not like you could have it in the area, but I think it would be something that in the pond it'd be kind of hard to do because you'd like having a sandbank or something. Then I was like, well, they had the sandbox in the first game. Let's think of something that's like contained like that. And what if it was like, hey, a showcase, like a not a sandbox, but let's do like a vivarium in a way. You have the so not like Atzel's like carrying container, but something that it's like it's this whole sandy biome. With that, you could add a hermit crab. So there's a little bit of water in there, and it's something like it's its own deserty area, and when it's make the hermit crab a boss, and the hermit crab being a boss will just I think it'll add a cool challenge to it because if you make it like oh you can only attack it at this like just different attack patterns but it has its shell it can retreat into. I think it'd be cool if it was able to change its shell during like mid battle. Like it has 3 stages, 2 stages. Maybe it changes to a shell, or it has a shell in its first phase, changes to a different one in its second phase, and then its third phase, it doesn't have a shell. Like that's when it's like aggressive, last stand. It's very like coming at you. And then this is where I thought of maybe you have a boss hermit crab, but then you have like baby hermit crabs. So maybe it's just you have a bunch of shells just scattered around in this vivarium tank, whatever. And having all these shells, you then have, you know, something's been there. Like you can see them gradually, like the shells gradually get bigger because a lot of keepers of hermit crabs will give them bigger shells so they can, as they grow, they get a new shell, what like they do in the wild. So you know something's been growing for a long time. Well, then you can have the younger ones that kind of like the snail shell. You kill them, they leave their shell behind, and you can get like their claws or their shell as an upgrade piece, whatever. And then the boss can be something, I don't know, just definitely something that I think could add a unique boss fight to of having like a protective shield, and it will just like definitely different stages and other stuff I think could really be cool. I don't know, that's kind of what I've thought about. I know that was just me rambling for now almost 15 minutes. Maybe it went multiple ways that I really didn't even know what I was talking about, but just spitballing ideas. But that's what I love is there's so many different possibilities that you can add to the game, and it'll make for something unique to where there could be 50 new creatures or however, or just it's definitely something that I'm excited about just to add. Um yeah, so trying to think of any last things. I did see in a sketch. I'm not really going to like go into detail for it, but it basically just be a variant of the crow. Had seen they put birdhouses on one of the sketch arts for the greenhouse that they plan to add, and I was like, well, if you have a greenhouse, or the birdhouses next to the greenhouse, why not add different variants of birds? And it's like I don't think you need to see like 15 different birds flying around through the sky. I think the crow is good, swoops in, drops crow feathers. But like the birds you can hear in the ambience, I think it'd be cool to have different feathers. So maybe it's like you add in a cardinal, and it's bright red feathers, or maybe you add in a blue jay and it's you get gray and blue feathers, something kind of something like that. You want to have like you have those variants, you can hear them, you don't have to see them though. And so I think the bird houses would make for a good parkour challenge where they would respawn like the birds are living in it. And then maybe you add like eggshell fragments. So it's like baby birds have hatched. So that's maybe some, and maybe you can collect egg yolk. I don't know, maybe that's new food, something like that. But I definitely think it could be cool of having those different birds, because then that's decorating. You have different decorations and you can just add many different things. So definitely a lot that could be added, but just kind of see where it will go. And definitely a lot of different opportunities. And I feel like I'm dragging this on, so I'll call this here, maybe make another video and explore other stuff, and yeah, go from there. Thanks for watching.